Hi, everyone. I'm back, and we're here with James Williams with X Factor Security. How are you doing today?
Hey, Dena, doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself personally before we get into your business.
Sure. Well, my name is James Williams. I've been in the Houston area for about 15 years. I'm from a little town in South Texas called Harlingen, Texas, and I'm married and have a beautiful wife and a beautiful 4-year-old little girl.
Aw, I have a 3-year-old myself, so it's a great
Goodness,
age.
totally.
And they're growing, their minds are expanding, everything's just
I'm soaking it
new.
all up, yeah, every minute.
Yeah, you think they're like, I call her three-nager, my daughter, because I feel like, she's 3 going on 13. So it's amazing how quickly and how they're little people before you even think, I mean, they are little people, but I always say that I think it's interesting how quickly their minds expand and grow on a daily basis.
Their own personalities and attitudes.
So tell me why you got into home security.
That's a good question. I got into home security. I can trace it back to 2 events. The first one is my wife is Venezuelan, and as I got to know her after we met and got to know her family, I started to understand that the security we have in this country is not guaranteed, and that it can be a lot worse. And that really made me want to strive to keep my family safer and learn more about it. And I think the second thing that I can point to that got me started in home security is a few years ago, I got called in for jury duty in downtown Houston, and I sat on a capital murder trial, and we were there for weeks, couldn't go into work, and went through all kinds of evidence, and most of that evidence came from a video camera system that the victim had in his house. And he had cameras outside of his house and even inside of his house too. And with all that evidence, we were able to convict his killers. But one thing that struck me was that the cameras didn't save his life. And I thought to myself, there's got to be more to it than what's out there. There's got to be a better way to keep my family safe. And once I figured out how to do that, I realized that I could help more and more people with what we've developed.
So in what sense, what was it that it just happened so quickly, or what kind of didn't make him safe, and what do you do with your company to kind of set yourself apart from the other security systems out there?
Well, in that case, the criminal didn't even notice the camera, even though they were obvious that they were in their own state of mind. Who knows what was going on in their head? They didn't even notice that the victim had cameras and that they were on film. And what I learned to make a more comprehensive approach, we look at security from not just an alarm system or video cameras. We've distilled it down to what I call my home security triangle, the trifecta. And the point of that triangle is the digital security, and that's what everyone knows, like camera systems, video doorbells, alarm systems that alert authorities if something goes bad. But as we know, it takes them time to get to the scene, and an average home invasion only takes like 8 to 10 minutes. So the second point in the triangle is physical reinforcement, and that's actually making your house tougher to break into from a very physical level, reinforcing your doors and your windows, these entry points, so that it's just tougher to get in, because most criminals are opportunistic, and if your house is a hardened barrier, they'll go on down the road and they won't try to break in because they want an easy target. And then the third piece of our trifecta is the mindset, having a security mindset, and to us that means, do you utilize your equipment? Is it top of mind? Does it integrate with your life in a way that it's not annoying? We work with our customers to make sure the equipment integrates with their life. But not only that, we like to really talk to our customers about having being aware and having situational awareness in transitional spaces when you're coming into and out of your home. It's a good time to keep your head up and look around and understand if something's going wrong. Because if something does go wrong, identify it early. That time buys you options. So These are the differentiators for us.
I think that's one of the key points, because we were talking a little bit before the show, and I mentioned how, I know that a lot of people have the home security, but they sometimes don't even arm their own home security. They think that's going to be a deterrence. What are some of those things that you can do in somebody's home that might deter someone from doing that? Like, if you have a door jamb or something on the inside of your house, they can't see that on the outside. What are some things that you can physically see on the outside that they can see maybe that would deter them from going into the home?
An alarm system sign is a deterrent, and a camera is a deterrent, but it's good to know that that's not going to actually physically stop someone, and deterrents don't always work. Everything, it's the whole package that I think really makes people safer, is having the barriers to make it tougher to get into, having the authorities on call with your alarm system, and the deterrents as well, so that hopefully they never even try in the first place.
Yeah. So how has COVID, affected your business?
Well, it's been busy because I think everyone's more focused on crime. We know violent crime is up in the city due to COVID, and everyone, was working at home during the shutdown, and I think people started paying more attention to their home security during that time. And now, as we're opening back up, everyone's going back to work, and so their houses are going to be vacant again. That reminds me of a stat I recently read that 26% of all home invasions actually happen when somebody's home. So that was kind of startlingly high for me. But it's important to protect your house when you're not home, so you can protect your property, and even more so when you are home, to protect your family.
What are some of the most common vulnerabilities that people have in their homes?
Well, I think one you already mentioned, and that's either not having an alarm system or not arming it. And for some people, they can be annoying, and there's ways to make it not so annoying, so they use it all the time. That's one that we see sometimes. And another one is the front doors in our community. Front doors, it's the most common entry point for a burglar, and they're just not very tough to get into. Like with the hardware that I take out of these doors, screws that are like less than an inch long, one little kick and somebody's inside the house. And even worse sometimes, many times there's just a pane of glass that keeps, the outside world or a would-be burglar from getting into your house if they want to. They break the glass, reach in and open the lock, whether you have an alarm system or not, they can be in your house.
There's so many people that don't have their garage door doesn't really lock or things like that, so they can just easily walk into your garage and kick in the back door, and then there you go. I mean, that's even a hidden spot in the back of your house that you can do that.
These types of vulnerabilities are the first thing we look at when we're setting someone up with a true safe home.
If you could tell our viewers one thing that helped keep them safer, what would that be?
Well, the comprehensive approach, I think, is important because it's not just one thing, but I think the most important thing is having the mindset, because that leads to everything else. Just having a security mindset, being aware of your security, and taking some effort to up your security game to keep you and your family safe is having the right mindset for sure.
And I know you mentioned before that you offer consultations and things like that about home security. How is your consultation different than maybe some of these companies that just come in and, here's your camera, here's a camera, and, the 4 points of entry in your home, just kind of the basic security that everyone's imagining when the general companies call you and give you quotes or give you estimates. How do you set yourself apart from those companies?
Well, our security consultations, we come into the house and we, like I said, we look at it from the holistic perspective, not just the digital side, but what's truly going to make this person safer. And we can even take it a step farther and do a home security assessment where we document every vulnerability in the house, on the perimeter of the house, and go through the equipment that you have and figure out what's reusable and what's the best way to set up your system, and really just bring solutions to our homeowners and help them understand what they need to do to make themselves safer.
So you can actually integrate yours with already existing equipment that they might have if it's not, I guess, rented from their security company, because sometimes you purchase it, sometimes you rent it. How would that transition happen?
Oh, there's so many different scenarios that you see when you walk into a house, but I think the most common one is a wired home that's got wired sensors. A lot of the companies like to just push wireless sensors because they're so easy to put up. But if you really take the time to connect the existing wired system, you never have to change batteries and that sort of thing. But it's a case-by-case basis. There's so many different products on the market. So many of them are, if it's still up to date, we can reuse it. And if it's not, we can recommend something that brings it more into the 21st century, touch screens and cell phone compatibility and that sort of thing.
You did mention that to me earlier, that you could do something where you could automate it, like where it automatically sets. Is that something like, okay, you pull out of your garage and it automatically sets, or you have timers that it sets at the specific time, or?
There's a couple different ways to do it. One, we can set reminders that if the system hasn't been armed when it should have been, it can alert you, hey, it's 10 o'clock, you haven't armed your system. Or some systems that we use are even GPS based. So if you forget to arm your system and the coordinates of your GPS of your phone and your app are farther away, it'll actually arm your system for you.
Okay. Could that integrate with like your garage door openers and your?
It can too, for sure. And we integrate the garage doors with the home security app. And in that way, you can also be notified if you forget to leave your garage door open as well. So many people do that, and that's probably one of the most common crimes, is just running into an open garage and grabbing a bike or something like that.
Well, I know a lot of builders these days even aren't including garage door openers, which to me is, I think, a little crazy, because I'm like, okay, but I would think that garage doors or openers, automatic openers, is kind of a standard. Hey, where are the two remotes when I move into a house? But funnily enough, even being in real estate, I'm finding a lot of builders aren't including it necessarily
Really?
in their new construction homes. So I found that interesting, where a lot of the clients are wanting to now purchase that separately, but they make sure that it is Wi-Fi enabled, that they can actually go home, because so many people you hear all the time saying, oh, I forgot to, close my garage. And I think I've reversed so many times down my street, just like, did I close the garage?
It's so nice to be able to just check that on your phone. And there's other convenience factors with that too. You can securely let people into your house when you're not home. If you have, a Wi-Fi lock on the inside of your garage man door, and you can open your garage through your app. So it allows you ways to grant access securely instead of just leaving your garage door open.
How easy is it for people to get into people's garages? That's like always been a question of mine too. Like, I know recently we've got some workout equipment. You see people now with all their workout equipment in their garage.
Yeah.
How easy is it for people to get into people's garages?
So there's a vulnerability with garages that I used to see a lot more commonly, and now with the newer garage doors, it's not so easy to if the garage is closed, it's not a common sort of route of entry that we see anymore.
Okay, yeah, because I see even with living in the Heights or in the inner city area, you see a lot more people getting theft of their trucks, getting theft of different things, the tailgates. I heard someone about different ignitions, like in their cars.
Catalytic converters is a new one that they're going after.
That's the one. Yes, that's what I was looking for.
There's precious metals in that converter,
and I guess like certain Toyotas have like 4 of them, and like someone got 3 out of the 4 stolen from their car recently. Yeah. So that's something. Beyond just a security camera, is that something you could tie into your business as well?
Well, definitely. When it comes to keeping the car safe, it's having an established perimeter that you can really see when something's going on, and you get alerted when someone's there that shouldn't be, but you don't get false alerts, so you don't start ignoring the alerts. And also setting up a good, perimeter around your house, whether it be a fence or an automatic gate or that sort of thing.
Some of these HOAs don't allow you to actually go and put in those automated gates and those things, because it'll change the exterior of the home in different ways, so they won't allow you to actually put those in. So just if they can't do that, I guess just the camera on it. And
surveillance in that situation is probably the best bet, and it's best to have the highest quality camera you can, so you can catch as much detail instead of just a dark figure. You can actually see a license plate.
And you have companies that can monitor that with your company. And
yeah, most commonly, video monitoring is more commercial, but it can be residential too, for sure. But we do have monitoring for all the alarm systems and all of their equipment, for sure.
Awesome. Well, James, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully we can get you out to a lot of clients and help them have better secured homes.
Well, thank you so much.
If you could tell everyone your information and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay. First, I'd like to, before I tell you my information, I'd like to offer our home security assessment free to your viewers today. So if you mention this interview, we normally charge it $200 for it. And in that situation, we actually go through your house and look for all the vulnerabilities like we mentioned earlier, and give you a formal report and something that you can really understand your vulnerabilities and the solutions that you need to really be safer in your home. The best way to get a hold of me is by phone. My number is 832-540-6563.
A little bit slower, because you
Okay.
said that really fast. Some people are listening on the radio.
Okay, 832-540-6563. On social media, Instagram and Facebook, that's X Factor Home Security, and the website is xfactorhomesecurity.com. So thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thanks, James, so
Thank
much.
you, Dena.
That's X Factor Home Security. Be sure to reach out to them. We'll be right back after a few commercials.